Man, so the videos keep coming out about Netflix's Cleopatra, and it's something that I really didn't think I was going to talk about this much. But again, the articles keep coming out left and right, and that's because the people who are behind this particular docu-series, if you even want to call it that, they are coming out and doing tons of interviews, tons of press tours about it, and they're talking about it and attacking people about it because people are criticizing it. Obviously, we already know that Netflix has been sued for the docu-series by an Egyptian lawyer because they're taking extreme offense to this falsification of history. And now we have another article. So this one in particular is from Bounding Into Comics, and it says that Netflix's Queen Cleopatra director condescendingly dismisses criticism against series and says race swapping of actual history, we don't realize that misogynoir still has an effect on us today. Now, the crazy thing is, I know words, at least I think I know words, and I had no idea that this was a freaking word. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. Misogynoir, I had no idea it was a word. I thought they were just making that shit up, but apparently it's a real thing, and I had the unfortunate pleasure of Googling it. And apparently, according to Google, the definition of this is a dislike of or contempt for or ingrained prejudice against black women. Yes, 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 black women. Black women had to have a title so desperately that they made up an entire word. They took the word misogyny, which is good for all women, and they had to make one specifically for black women. So they gave them misogynoir. It's so fucking stupid. It is unbelievable. Are you kidding me? You needed a title that bad. You needed something different that bad that you couldn't even share the word misogyny with other women. You had to come up with your own fucking word. It is insane to me. But again, this is the time that we're living in. So let's read this article and see what it has to say. But of course, before we do, guys, consider giving this video a like to help push us out into the YouTube algorithm. So it says, in what may go down as one of the most condescending and tone-deaf responses to criticism of all time, not that she cares for history anyway, which, again, very true. Obviously, this director doesn't care about real history. She's just trying to make a docu-series that's going to go as popular as possible with the most controversy in the hopes to garner the most clicks. It says the director of Netflix's upcoming Queen Cleopatra has defended the series race swapping by claiming that it portrays the Egyptian ruler even more right than ever before, whatever the fuck that means. Now, obviously, that's not true. She is trying to portray it in the way that's going to deem her correct. Like, she's trying to make it seem as if Cleopatra was a hardcore black queen. That is not the case, of course. Everybody knows that. Everybody who studies history obviously knows that's not the case. They try to say it's up for academic debate. It's not. They only want to pretend that's the case because it tries to give validity to their argument, which is they don't have one. They were just looking for any reason to take another known historical name and turn it black. Like, they wanted to black something, and they decided to do it to Cleopatra. And everybody says, oh, well, you were perfectly fine with the white actress playing Cleopatra back in the day before you even started YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point. Like, obviously, first off, I didn't watch it. Second off, I wasn't in the YouTube space back then. Third off, she looks a hell of a lot more like Cleopatra than this fucking person ever would. So even worse, it goes against your argument to say what you've been saying about the previous actress who played Cleopatra. It says a documentarian who previous works covered such topics as a young woman's exile from Iran and her subsequent life as a refugee in Britain, I Am Nazreen, and the ever-growing division seen across the world, Tribalism is Killing Us, which she attributes in large part to the loss of white privilege. Director Tina Garavi offered her response to the bevy of criticisms against Queen Cleopatra via an exclusive op-ed published by Variety on April 21st. She says, I remember as a kid seeing Elizabeth Taylor play Cleopatra. I was captivated, but even then, I felt the image was not right. Garavi first explains, I wonder why you thought that. And again, remember, she's trying to say that as a kid, she was thinking about this. Do you really think a fucking kid who's watching Cleopatra is thinking this? Check this out. This is what she says she thought as a kid. It says, Garavi first explains of her decision to take such a creative liberty while with actual history. Was her skin color really that white? With this new production, could I find the answers about Cleopatra's heritage and release her from the stranglehold that Hollywood had placed on her image? So apparently, according to Garavi, as a kid, as a child, she was thinking about the skin color of an actress in a Cleopatra movie. Do you believe her? Does anybody believe her? Does anybody believe this person that she thought about skin color back when she was a child? Absolutely fucking not. Nobody believes a single word this person is saying. She is speaking from her modern day self, and she's trying to pass it off to her innocent child self, and trying to pretend as if she thought about this when she was a kid. Nobody who's a kid who watched Elizabeth Taylor's Cleopatra, if you watched it as a kid, nobody thought, oh, Is her skin color really supposed to be this white? Nobody thought that. Garavi then moved to discuss Cleopatra's heritage, correctly noting that in regards to the historical figure, the known facts are that her Macedonian Greek family, Polaic lineage, intermarried with West Asian Seleucid dynasty and has been in Egypt for over 300 years. However, ostensibly due to the fact that even scholarly research did not support the idea that Cleopatra was black, the director then attempted to deliberately muddy the conversation by moving the goalposts and conflating discussions of the queen's race with those regarding her own personal nationality. Now, I'm not surprised whatsoever about that because, again, these movies, these TV shows, these docuseries, anything these people come out with, it's not about what they're making. It's about themselves. They're trying to make something that inserts themselves into the IP, or in this case, into a historical figure or an historical point in time. They're trying to insert their own political ideologies, and if it's not political, their own ideologies, period, into a previous IP or historical figure or historical time. So that's why she's trying to change the conversation to her own personal nationality, because that's what it's really about. It says Cleopatra was 8 generations away from these Ptolemaic ancestors, making the chance of her being white somewhat unlikely, she asserted. After 300 years, surely we can safely say Cleopatra was Egyptian. She was no more Greek or Macedonian than Rita Wilson or Jennifer Aniston. Both are 1 generation from Greece. Finding that reality stood in the way of the narrative she believed, the filmmaker then admitted that she still chose to move forward with portraying Cleopatra as black due to the fact that while doing the research, she realized what a political act it would be to see Cleopatra portrayed by a black actress. Well, fuck, finally, at least somebody has the balls to admit that all of this is political. Her entire decision to make Cleopatra black was to make a political statement, or in this case, make a political act. Finally, they have finally come out and admitted it. They have come out and said the truth, something that we've known all this time whenever they come out with race-swapping characters or they come out with race-swapping historical figures, apparently now, because at first it was, oh, we're just race-swapping fictional characters so that we can address the rebalance, and it's important to see ourselves in these characters and stuff like that. Now, apparently, the ones that they said were fictional that didn't matter, now they're apparently race-swapping the ones that are real and do matter. So again, it's an interesting combination of fake stories that they're coming out with to try to justify their bullshit ideology. It says, for me, the idea that people had gotten it so incredibly wrong before, who got it wrong? How are you the arbiter of truth when it comes to history? I don't know why her ego is so high up there, Garavi, but you are not the arbiter of truth when it comes to history. It says historically from Veda Barra to Monica Bellucci, and recently with Angelina Jolie and Gal Gadot in the running to play her, meant we had to get it even more right, which means we had to get it even more black, according to Garavi. The hunt was on to find the right performer to bring Cleopatra into the 21st century, which is aka the Black Century. That's basically what they're trying to say. It says, why shouldn't Cleopatra be a melanated sister? Because she wasn't. She asked, almost deliberately ignoring how the outrage against her docuseries is based on its falsification of real history rather than any racial hatred. And why do some people need Cleopatra to be white? Her proximity to whiteness seems to give her value, and for some Egyptians, it seems to really matter. Well, that's because a lot of Egyptians are of olive skin, and it has been notoriously accepted that she was also of fairly olive skin. She was not black, she was nowhere near black, and she will never be black no matter how desperate you are to rewrite history. And you can say, oh, you guys are just mad, you're this, you're that. You can try to deflect all you want. You're the one that's lying here. You're the one that's trying to make shit up to make it seem as if Cleopatra was black this entire time. You're the one that's so desperate to take a known historical figure from another prominent race of people and turn them into an African American, because that's really all you care about. After much hand-wringing and countless auditions, we found in Adele James an actor who could convey not only Cleopatra's beauty, but also her strength. I guess you really mean only her skin color, because that's really all you fucking care about. Garabi further recalled before basically putting forth the claim that what the historians can confirm is that it is more likely that Cleopatra looked like Adele than Elizabeth Taylor ever did. I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that. Unfortunately for Garavi, in this regard, her Afrocentric beliefs regarding Cleopatra's history has once again failed to line up with actual history. According to a posthumous portrait of Queen found in the ruins of the ancient Roman city Herculaneum, which many historians agree is one of the only surviving depictions of the Queen, depicts Cleopatra with fair skin and red hair, an appearance actually more in line with Taylor than James, which is the picture that's been going around online that's completely destroying this bullshit narrative about Cleopatra being black. And again, they try to make it seem like this is some modern day whitewashing when that wasn't even the ideology of people back in the day. You're trying to think of something modern and throw it back into the past, and it doesn't work that way. Further defending her upcoming work, Garavi next turned to another past portrayal of the Egyptian ruler, taking issue with how the HBO series Rome portrayed one of the most intelligent, sophisticated, and powerful women in the world as a sleazy, dissipated drug addict, yet Egypt didn't seem to mind. Where was the outrage back then, she questioned, but portraying her as black, well, that's a problem. Still unwilling to admit that perhaps the reason for this outrage was her own genuine misstep rather than the unfair bleeding of so-called racists, Garari asserted perhaps it's not just I've directed a series that portrays Cleopatra as black, but that I've asked Egyptians to see themselves as Africans, and they are furious at me for that. I am okay with this, she then affirmed, despite the fact that she felt the need to write an entire op-ed refuting her critics. Again, that's pretty fucked up that you are trying to make another race of people try to see themselves through the eyes of a different race of people, when if somebody were to do that to black people, you would have a big problem with it. So again, the hypocrisy to me is ridiculous. This shit needs to stop, and I really hope they continue to be sued into oblivion, because any money that Netflix loses is gonna be great for me. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.